How is everyone doing on this wonderful hump day? I say hump day because maybe it's not Wednesday when you're listening to it, and maybe you're humping today.
And
therefore, it could still be hump day.
Okay, every day is hump day. Hey!
Every day, hopefully, is hump day. Hopefully, every day is consensual hump day.
God.
Rochelle, happy 52nd episode.
Happy 52nd
of the
episode
Viall
to
House.
you.
We celebrate the 52nd. You would think that 50 is monumental. The reason we didn't is one, we forgot to bring it up. Two, there's 52 weeks in a year. And so...
Oh, you thought about this, huh?
No, I just made it up. But it does sound good, right? I mean, it is really meaningful. And again, we've mentioned this a few times. We always appreciate everyone listening. It came in fast. 52 episodes.
It did.
A year's worth of episodes in less than a year.
Wow.
We're really doing things.
Guess so.
I do appreciate you guys all listening. It's been a lot of fun. I hope to have it continue to grow, and it's been very flattering, and having people come up and saying hi and say they listen to the podcast is meaningful, and it's been a lot of fun, and I know we've enjoyed doing it, and it's been a fun journey. So as always, thanks for listening. For those tuning in for the first time, because they're dying to hear a little Chris Bukowski.
Chris Bukowski.
Thanks for tuning in. There's 51 other episodes. Go back and check it out.
I have to say, Chris, I was like excited he was coming, but he's like extra hot in person.
Extra?
Yes.
He's a good looking guy.
Yeah, I was like, okay, Chris. And then he came in and I was like, oh my God.
He's extra hot.
Yeah, extra hot in person.
Do you think that you get a reaction from people that he, like, for example, like him, because at times he didn't have the most favorable public persona that played a role, and you saw him differently?
Yeah.
You know? Kind of like again, Tyler's hot, right? But Tyler also had, like, the greatest edit of all time.
Yeah.
Not that he's not a great guy, but, like, there's a world in which Tyler could have not looked good. I mean, it's possible.
Right.
It's literally possible for anyone. But here's Chris, a pretty good looking guy.
Yeah.
But people, like, are judgy and So if you know nothing else about Chris Bukowski, hotter in person. Hotter in person. Rochelle, one of the most stressful things for me as a person.
Are you stressed?
Well, yeah, because, and I'm not being sarcastic.
Okay.
One of the most stressful things about my life every day is drinking enough water.
You get stressed about that?
It's hard to stay hydrated.
Yes.
It is. My sister's constantly on me about staying hydrated. You're supposed to drink just an insane amount of water.
Right.
I find it to be exhausting.
Right.
I feel like the people listening can relate to how to how exhausting hydrating yourself can be.
Yeah.
We have a solution.
Did you just high five the air?
That was more like a whatever. Liquid IV, people. I think you've seen it out there.
I've seen you do it on your Instagram.
I did it on my Instagram. It's really quite great. It's like drinking 2 to 3 bottles of water and with one of the little packs. They have great flavors.
How do you set it up?
Quite delicious. They come in these little packs. Like, I don't know, it's like, I guess it doesn't look like a Kool-Aid pack, but like it's just a little pack you open up and you pour in a bottle of water.
It's not an actual IV.
No, it's liquid IV.
Yes.
Like it's
okay.
But it has the same benefits of, say, plugging in an IV into your vein.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
It's full of vitamins, vitamin C, B3, B5, B6, B12.
Ooh.
Again, it's like drinking 2 to 3 bottles of water.
Nice.
It's more efficient than water alone.
Cool.
Obviously, if you indulge, it's great for indulging alcohol.
Yeah.
But even if you don't, if you're out there and you just want to get those nutritions into your body, that makes no sense. Get those nutritions. So for many winter sports takes place at high altitudes, and it's great for that. You get dehydrated faster.
Nice.
If you're out in the hot summer sun. Anyways, it's just always good to be hydrated, and Liquid IV is helping you do that. It's quite delicious. They have wonderful flavors. I've been using it. I know Demi's a big fan of it too. She tried to steal some from me. I have some at home. Anyways, I love Liquid IV, and I know you will too. Right now, my listeners get 25% off liquidiv.com when you use code VIALL at checkout. That's 25% off anything you order on Liquid IV's website. Go to liquidiv.com and enter my promo code VIALL to get your savings and start getting better hydration. That's liquidiv.com, promo code VIALL. Don't wait. Start properly hydrating today.
You know, our other producer who's off camera, Dustin, can't stop talking about the Embark vet results.
That's because now he confidently knows his dog is 100% Beagle. And
he got her from the pound.
And he rescued. So, like, who knows? Who knows? Like, yeah, I think is the assumption that if you rescue someone,
they won't be 100%.
You won't be 100%. But turns out,
purebred baby.
Purebred Beagle from the pound. So,
and they found out he didn't know how old she was because he got her from the pound. He found out she's 90 years old in dog years.
A little sad. How long has he owned?
I don't know.
We
should ask her. I should ask him.
Well, at least now you know.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And he said they keep sending him updates of her relatives.
Cousins,
so he's like found a half sister. And, yeah.
I still think Embark is such a fascinating thing that I feel like our audience, people love their dogs, obviously, and for rightfully so.
Yes.
And yet we love our dogs like our children, and yet we know so little about them.
Yes. So with Embark DNA kits, you get a kit at home, you swab their gums, send it in, and you get the results.
It is amazing. Well, Embark has an exclusive holiday offer you can't get anywhere else. Go to embarkvet.com now and use promo code VIALL to save 15% off your dog DNA test kit. Visit embarkvet.com and use promo code VIALL to save. Truly fascinating. Well, like I said, people, we have hot Chris Bukowski on this show. It's a nice, easy listen.
Oh, yeah. Say. What a nice guy. He certainly has a lot of perspective about his time on the show. You guys have similar but different life trajectories.
Yeah, there's some similarities there.
Yeah.
And, again, like people going back on, like Chris was a little more sticky in between. He was like a prominent character, and then he went on. He was a big star on Bachelor Pad, but like it went differently.
Yes.
And then he went on a bunch of times, but never really went on. It was always like a poppin'. And it became like this it came across as a bit sticky. And sticky.
Okay. I'm like, what are you trying to say? Not sticky.
He didn't stick, actually. He would show up and would not stick.
He was like the Kramer in Seinfeld where he just pops in, says hello, acts crazy, and leaves.
And then leave. And then he kind of got back to his roots, so to speak, and had clearly, obviously, a much better time. And it's been a fun little journey for Chris.
Yeah.
And I always kind of like these. I like that the show decides to bring people like Chris back to show perspective and a different version of him. And I find it's compelling. I think a lot of people enjoyed Chris this season, especially the people who watched early on.
Yeah, they wouldn't invite him back if he wasn't a good guy. Don't you think that's true?
I think that is very true.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of, you see that a lot. There's sometimes fan favorites who you never see again. And it's not because they don't want to go back on. It's because like, producers kind of think they're bad people.
Right, yeah, and they don't want to spend a couple months with them.
And sometimes maybe they're just difficult to deal with and the pain in the ass, and they're just like, there's a lot of variables. But to your point, Chris he's a good guy. And like, I know we have a lot of mutual friends and he's not a perfect person and he's open about that, but he's deep down, he has a good heart and he's had his ups and downs throughout the year and we've had a fun conversation. So
I wanted to check in on our raising money for cystic fibrosis.
Are we saving people's lives yet? Have we met our goal?
Listen,
we're only at $1,557.
$1,557. Our goal is $5,000. Nick is in third place right now.
I'm in last place. Rochelle's lying. I'm in last place, people. We need to step it up.
But we did have some really nice people donate. Katie said her cousin has 2 girls with CF, and it means a lot that you're raising money for the cause. And then Alicia Salmon donated, Nicole Rubin, a lot of amazing women.
I don't think I'm understating the fact that if it weren't for donations that you guys could give, people like Rochelle's sister wouldn't be in the residency at a hospital being a doctor 20, 30 years ago. She might not be with us at this time. And it's because of the research people have done. So any little bit helps. We'll put a link in our bio and the
also,
description page.
You can buy tickets to come to the event and hang out with Nick.
You can.
And also Lauren Zima is going to be hosting.
Lauren Zima is going to be hosting.
So it's going to be fun.
Come hang out with us.
Yeah,
give us $1,
November
give
8th.
us $5, give us $20. Of all the people listening, we can meet our goal if you just give $1.
But give more than $1.
Sure. But like, let's go, people. Anyways,
You're getting this content for free.
we appreciate you listening, and we appreciate your donations if you can help Rochelle's sister not die.
Oh, God.
I'm just saying.
That's true, but...
Well, I hope you enjoy this episode. Thanks for sticking with us. Happy 52nd episode, everyone listening.
Yes.
Don't forget to send in your 5-star ratings. Your reviews are fine, but we just like your ratings. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much, guys. Up next, Chris Bukowski. Chris Bukowski.
How you doing, man?
How are you? Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for actually coming in. You had a bit of a fender bender this morning.
A little bit.
Are you okay? Is everyone fine?
I'm good. My ego's hurt a little bit, but I'm here. Everyone's fine.
Why is your ego hurt?
I feel like
Was it your fault?
No,
Was okay.
but I was just frustrated. Nothing like nothing like LA traffic, and then when you're causing extra traffic,
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
On the 101.
yeah, it's brutal.
But you're here, dedicated to this podcast. We appreciate you coming in. Thanks for coming. I'm looking forward to this. I think this is the most we've spoken in person ever. We met once.
Wait, really?
We met once at a Chicago bar. Chris, I think you had an event.
Yeah, I was
or
hosting something.
And Jacqueline brought me, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, Chris and I and we have a bunch of mutual friends. I know, like you like Charlene and them, but Chris and I haven't really hung out too much.
Were you never on the show together?
No. Well, we were technically both on Andy Dorfman's season.
That's true.
The first time I became aware of Chris's presence was that when everyone was like, I feel like because we didn't know. I had no idea that was going on. And then we found out
Wait, what was going on?
Well, that Chris showed up.
I was there.
I don't remember.
I had no idea. So Chris on night 1 showed up at the gate or something and tried to come in, and Andy basically said no, and
Denied.
it was kind of part of Chris's kind of early run of.
That's when it all started to spiral downhill for me. I was like, damn, if Nick's on there, was that the first season?
I was a nobody.
Oh, you were no one there yet. Okay.
He was a software salesman.
It's always fun to think about because I'm assuming all the guys would have been, had you been on, very intimidated by your presence.
I like that. Thanks.
Well, you know how it is. Like at that point, everyone's like, oh,
Right.
This Chris Bukowski guy.
Well, just like when you came on to Caitlin's season.
Exactly.
You're
like
the guy
at
that's the
time.
outsider.
Yeah. But also people are weirdly intimidated. I came in late, but had you come in night 1, I think we would all been fairly scared.
Yeah, I was working out hard too prior to then too, so I was looking pretty jacked.
Were you?
Why
really?
didn't Andy let you in the gate?
I didn't even see her, but you know what? There was
You never saw her?
Well, I saw her in the distance, and they're like, they wanted me to run up there to I'm like, nah, man.
We didn't know he did that until we watched the first episode.
Really?
I had no idea.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I was like,
So she said no from afar.
No, they just told me no, she's not. There was nothing. I just kind of stood there for an hour, had a couple vodka sodas, and called it a night.
well, you've had quite the turnaround, I guess you could say. We're two people that, the diehard fans in Bachelor Nation, we've kind of, for different reasons, been kind of conveniently the people who go back on. I see it differently.
The OGs.
The OGs. Yeah. Well, Chris is even more OG than me.
Yeah. I was standard definition.
You were on Emily.
Yeah, Emily Mayer, 2012
season.
Yeah,
2012. I mean, it's crazy. How old were you? You were young.
I just turned 25.
You were 25. Okay, so yeah, you were. That's the thing. It's not even that long ago.
Right.
You really think about it, but in Bachelor years, it feels truly.
It feels.
Was it even in HD?
It was. It was a couple, 2 seasons in HD. But it feels like it was yesterday. But I've been doing this for a decade. Now that I think about it, I was talking to Chris Harris when I came back onto Paradise. She's like, Bukowski's like, this is it, man. We've spent a decade together. Let's finish this.
When Chris says let's finish this, what does he mean? And what did you think he meant when he said let's finish this?
Don't come back onto this beach ever again or any of these shows.
Did that bother you when they said that? I know Chris is great. I know he loves to joke and he's sarcastic, and him and I have a similar sense of humor. But when that was coming from Chris or a producer, did that ever bug you, being like, you guys always wanted me to come.
Right. Exactly.
Like, again, we don't have to go into like how did you end up on Andy's season versus, but clearly they always were open to having you come.
Right. Yeah. I think I am. I listen to them a lot, so it's like if they want me to come, I must be like pretty easy TV for them. So yeah, they always wanted me to come, and I was, there was maybe like 3 years where I was like, I'm definitely not coming back, but then obviously I came back.
And so help me because I don't totally know. I know on Emily's season you were considered a fan favorite, right?
Yeah.
You were a pretty popular guy, and everyone loved like blue-eyed Chris, and you were this sweet young boy with his heart broken.
Yeah.
And then you went on Bachelor Pad.
Just wrecked that place. Yeah.
And that didn't go well for you.
I mean, it was honestly, out of all of the shows, without counting the last one, that was the most fun
I loved that show.
I've ever had. And
Bachelor
you know what?
Pad, the show or Chris's season in particular?
I just love Bachelor Pad. It was so messy.
It was so messy. And honestly, like to this day, my friends from the show still come from Bachelor Pad, like Jacqueline Swartz. And, a lot of those people I'm still in touch with, just because you're in it with these people. And like, if I made it to the end and there's only 6 people left in that house. So you get to really know people really well.
That was the season with when it was Nick.
Yeah.
He
took all my money.
Took the money.
Yeah.
I watched that finale with Demi because she
was
came
watching
back. She watched it, and I gotta say, I was totally sided with Nick.
100%. Well, he kind of.
I didn't know his character, but in the end, he was like, you all thought I was gonna go home, and I get it because in that world, I've talked about this. Would you agree that Bachelor world is very like high school?
100%. Yeah.
It's Mean Girls Club. It's like, are you in the crowd? Are you in the out crowd? And like, it is. It's petty and catty. And the way Nick was talking, you could be like, yeah, he was the outsider. Everyone was probably like, who's this guy? He was like probably like, oh, he went home week 1. He's not one of the popular kids. He's not one of the. I guarantee, and that was, I'm sure they treated him that way. And he was just like, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
And
the most I heard of Nick was when he was snoring because we shared a bunk. And
Oh, no.
But he barely talked, but he was a good guy. And he just kind of coasted along. And what he did with keeping all the money, I agreed with it because Rachel just kind of was stuck on someone else the whole time. And he got it.
Yeah.
$250K is a nice month of work.
Not bad.
Yeah.
5-6 years ago,
Yeah. With inflation, that's like $2 million.
It's like, it's like 20 million these days.
Noom.
It's just so fun to say. It's also very easy and convenient to use.
Yep. Start losing weight by getting an app on your phone, going on 10 minutes a day.
Just get better information.
Yeah. Retrain your mind. Get better habits. They make it so easy. I've always felt overwhelmed by trying to get control over, what I eat, when I eat. And Noom just makes it super easy for me.
The truth is, life becomes less stressful and easier the more information you have.
Yeah.
And when we are trying to figure out, I think everyone has the intention of eating well and eating healthy and trying to look and feel their best.
Yes.
But to be honest, sometimes we just don't have the answers.
Exactly.
We just don't know. And we guess, or we hear it from friends, or we see something in some sort of like article.
Yeah.
But Noom has just a wealth of information from experts and proven facts, and it's right there, accessible on your phone. Every little bit helps. You get in healthy habits, and you'll be and look your best. Feel good. Shavings make a pile.
Exactly.
Right. So it's really awesome. All our listeners could benefit from it.
Yeah.
There's really no reason not to do it.
Yeah.
So we encourage you. Try Noom. Also very fun to say. You don't have to change it all in one day. No. Small steps make big progress. What do you have to lose? Well, maybe weight. I don't know. Or what do you have to gain? Probably a lot of wealth of information. Visit Noom.com/VIALL to start your trial today. That's Noom.com/VIALL. The last weight loss program you'll need. That's great. So, I mean, now that you are you still engaged?
Yeah, still with Katie.
Great. All right.
Yeah.
Had to check in there.
Yep.
We'll get to this season a little bit, but like in terms of, looking back, I mean, it's been kind of a run for you in terms of, and I think, where I can relate is like, it hasn't always been super positive. It hasn't always been super negative. You've had these kind of ebbs and flows. I mean, do you reflect back and think about that kind of process and what that's all been like for you?
I definitely have. And, before deciding to come back into Paradise this season, I thought a lot about it. But, I think for me, it started like Bachelorette was such a high for me. You have zero expectations and you travel the world and you meet this, I was actually into the girl.
Oh, she's great.
So, that experience, I think I was always just kind of chasing to get that kind of high back. And so that's kind of why I kept coming back. But it can, when you try, it doesn't go too well when you try too hard. So
did you, when you describe the high, I mean, we've talked about it a little bit before, but just the high of being in that atmosphere and just having that kind of rush of that kind of little club that is Bachelor World.
Yeah, it's like, getting into a fraternity, and, back then in 2012, I mean, Instagram was just starting. So like the social media aspect of it wasn't even that huge.
It wasn't anything.
Right. So, I remember we were traveling somewhere and one of the guys saw his face on the cover of a magazine, because he had the first date and like, I mean, we thought this was the greatest thing in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's just like, social media has taken over so much. I feel like it's taken away a little bit of the authenticity of the show. But it's two completely different eras, 100%.
It really is. After the first time you went on, what was that experience like for you, and what was your thought process? It being very different.
Yeah.
The show ends. Emily's season is very popular. You guys are all getting attention, and it's all relative. It's different than what it is now. But what was your thought process, and like what this experience was going to do for you, and how do you look back and think of it differently?
Yeah, like going into it, I thought I was going to go home on the first night. So like I again had zero expectations. Then I actually ended up liking her a lot, and from there, I went straight into Bachelor Pad, so I didn't have too much time to digest it. I watched only maybe 3 episodes of the season of The Bachelorette, so then it was like Bachelor Pad.
Yeah, similar to how they do.
Yeah, so it was a lot at once, and then, you get this like overnight kind of fame where people, want to talk to you and take pictures with you and, all that stuff. So it was a lot to digest, especially when you're, 25. And, for me, I was more focused on, starting my restaurants and stuff. So it all kind of meshed together. So it was kind of a perfect storm.
Did you ever move out to LA after the show?
No, oddly enough, after when I was kind of done doing the shows, I moved out to LA because I was dating someone out here for a couple of years.
Okay. Because I remember hearing from some of like the people in the press, I felt like I heard something like Emily Maynard's season was like the first season where they noticed a lot of cast members kind of, we're moving to LA.
Yeah.
You see that more and more now, especially with social media. But like, is that true? Or like, were a lot of guys kind of moved out here hoping to capitalize on the?
Yeah, I think there was definitely the conversations. I don't think too many guys actually did it. So oddly enough, Emily's season was actually the only season that wasn't filmed at the Bachelor Mansion. We actually filmed in Charlotte.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Which was awesome. Let me tell you, this house was magnificent compared.
So you never stayed at the Bachelor Mansion?
Not so Bachelor Pad.
Yeah, because Bachelor Pad is fine.
Right.
I mean, the
Bachelor Mansion.
The Bachelor, it's fine.
It's fine.
The one in Charlotte, you can get lost in it.
Wow.
Oh, it was amazing.
Really?
Yeah. And there was like air conditioning.
Like plantation home type of thing?
Oh, it was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. The pool was amazing. It was
so you had the most fun on Bachelor Pad, but at the time when you were filming it, did you think this was going to go differently? And then as people obviously watched it and there was obviously some criticism, and I did see that final, and I think you had some sort of like contrition moment where you're like, hey, I wasn't my best self, am I bad?
You know
what did you think about that? Or were you just kind of saying because you felt like I don't look the best? Or what were your real true thoughts about your experience versus the other ones, especially considering you actually had the most fun?
Right. Yeah, that's the thing is like in the moment, I never thought I was doing anything wrong when I was there filming Bachelor Pad. And obviously after you watch it, you're like, whoa, like that looks way worse than
sure.
Right. And
what were for the people who didn't watch it, like myself, the whole solo episode, what were you criticized most for?
Mostly I came off as a player. I apparently hooked up with 3 different girls in the house.
Okay.
Which, is it entirely true?
It wasn't?
Was not?
No.
Why not?
No.
One was unsuccessful.
I mean, well, here's the thing. It's like, it's a dating show. So it's like, you're supposed to, date and see if there's anyone on the show that you like. So there's 3 different girls. And at the end, I ended up being with the one that I picked out of the 3, just like being on The Bachelor was my mini version, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem with like Bachelor in Paradise and Bachelor Pad is that the show has a way of, again, they'll use it against you if you like, oh, well, I guess it's a dating show. I'm going to date as many people as possible. They're like, whoa, player.
Also, I mean, it's a competition show, so you have to manipulate a little bit, like you're trying to win money at the end of the day.
Well, that's the thing. I can't imagine Bachelor Pad because of the money element. It truly is just like, well, wait, is this about love or are we trying to get paid here? I don't. And then you're intersecting the two.
Yeah, but isn't that the real Bachelor too?
I don't. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
within the Instagram
filling, yeah.
But again, it's like I feel like Bachelor Pad, the concept was so great because you go on Paradise and there's just people that aren't making any connections. So there's still like there's a reason for them to stick around because they can win money. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was kind of just a cool element compared to Paradise and cycling people through.
What did you think about your lower thirds?
What do you mean?
Where they were like, every time they said your name, it was
that was the best. Wait, you don't like it?
Was it offensive?
Well, no. It was great when there was one. So when they listed all my seasons on there, I tweeted at Robert Mills. I'm like, we got to stop this, man. Like, this is getting out of control.
You didn't like it.
And he's like, all right, like we'll fix it. And I'm thinking like he's gonna put just something like Bachelor, just one of these.
Bachelor regular.
And then I'm thinking, I'm like, oh man, he's totally gonna mess with me now. And so obviously they alternated, every week.
I thought it was great. Keep in mind, mine was runner up on Paradise. But like good. Again, you have to. It's a tough process to learn to laugh at yourself on that show. I felt like you did a good job of it.
Thanks.
This season.
Well, Chris came on our podcast and Chris Harrison, and he talked you up a ton. Right. Yeah, he was like,
well, we've been through a lot together, so I think we're finally on the same page with things.
So before you found love on Paradise, obviously, I get asked a lot about how the show and dating life. You had been, I'm assuming, pretty much single, minus the occasional relationship here and there. What was that like for you in terms of, especially, would you agree that like kind of your reappearing on the show almost became very kind of like a gag or a stunt? It kind of had that feeling, and you kind of played into it a little bit in terms of like, first the Andy was, I'm assuming it was a sincere attempt at coming back on, and had she let you back on, you would have been part of the season. Definitely. And then you go on Paradise, and then I kind of felt like you were just like, well, fuck it, I'll just go on and get sent home, and that will be this thing. How did that affect, once you're like, I'm done here? Did you ever have a moment where when you were doing those kind of almost kind of sticky appearances, you got caught up in it and you felt like you needed a break? Like, were you kind of going through something, I guess is my question.
I think it was just kind of trying to keep going back and trying to get that original image or that original experience that I had from Bachelorette,
Well, I'm curious. That's a good point. Were you trying to get back the original image you had or the rush of just the experience? Because I would argue those are two very different
things. They are two different things, and I think that rush comes with the image. So
totally.
Yeah.
But as you would agree, just being in that world, sitting in the chair, it's therapeutic. It's like a rush. It's when you go back, there's this weird like, I can't believe I'm doing this. Also, it's good to be back.
Right. Right.
There's
it
that
almost
feeling.
feels like you're at home.
Yeah.
Which is bad.
It's a weird, it is a weird psychological thing. But to your point, and I've never experienced that because I was always I was going the opposite direction, but I was always thankful to start on the bottom and go on the way up. Right. You started at the top, you decreased, and then you found your way back up on top. But did you feel like you were trying to like constantly give your head above water? Because that sounds very dangerous.
It's extremely dangerous because you never, as much as you try, you don't. Like, it's almost impossible. And when I knew on Paradise 2, when I came back, and I was just like, I had way too much to drink at the pool. I came way later in the season. I'm like, it's time to go. And it's time to not come back,
Oh no.
Yeah. So after that is when I kind of called it quits.
And then what have you been up to? I mean, what have you been doing the past 3 years? Were you kind of just back to civilian life and being like just a regular guy?
So after Paradise 2, I actually dated someone for a couple of years out here in LA, and it was great. And
just a normal
person that I've known since like back in college, and so that was good. And after that ended, I just just busy, man. Just focused on, work and stuff and being a normal person. It was kind of nice.
Yeah. In terms of when you had the relationship, how much, if at all, did your time on the show come up, or was that, would it kind of pretty much die down when you'd go out and it wasn't really a thing?
I mean, people would still like recognize me and stuff, but like my ex-girlfriend, she never watched the show, and like she just really kind of like brushed it all off, like anything that happened on the show previously, which was great.
You liked that?
I like that, yeah, because it is hard to date, outside of the show, just because you never really know. I feel like people either already assume what they know about you or know you, or eventually after like that first date, they go Google you and then they find out about you or whatever's on the internet, and it's a battle because it's kind of hard to see if someone's like genuinely into you.
Sure. I mean, it can be a challenge.
Yeah.
So you dated her for what you said, 2 years?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
2.5 years.
A big part of your time away was in a relationship.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
And then that ended.
Yep.
And then how long were you
happened?
single for? Oh.
Well, I can ask.
I think we were just at the time of the relationship where it's like we were either going all in, or we were just going to kind of go our separate ways. And it was it wasn't like a rough breakup by any means. It was just I didn't want to be out in LA. I wanted to be in Chicago and stuff, and it was just kind of a distance thing at the end there. But it was a good relationship. I learned a lot from it.
What'd you learn?
Well, wow, that's a good question.
Talk a lot
Nick.
about relationships, Chris.
That's a good question.
If you're gonna say you learned, we're gonna ask what.
No, I learned. No, obviously, you have to really get to know the needs of the other person and kind of put yours, behind yourself and really listening to what people need when you're in a relationship, especially living together. Because we lived together for a year, and that was the first time I ever lived with a girlfriend. So that was a big learning experience, especially, having each other's space and all that stuff. And it was a battle. It was tough. I mean, because
why did you guys move into it? Like, what was that conversation like? I'm curious.
Yeah, because I was living in Orange County. She was up in LA, and I was always up in LA. Mm-hmm. So we're like, all right, well, why don't we just get a place together? I'm like, okay, cool. We'll have an extra bedroom. I'll work out of the extra bedroom, and like we'll have all this space. But we were just on two completely different schedules, like work schedules. So there was I really never had my own space, I feel like. And
that's hard.
Yeah. So, and that's tough because I feel like a very independent person. I like my space. I like to kind of go at my own speed. And, when that I lost that, it was really difficult for sure.
Do you think that played a role in why things ultimately ended?
Yeah,
maybe in a positive way. I mean,
definitely. Listen, yeah, I think
moving in with someone too soon really will let you know that you shouldn't be with them.
Right. No, you learn real quick. And I think, we had a lot of good times, and then there was a lot of times where we're just like, this is really tough. And like, we don't think this is going to work out. But again, it was a civil breakup. And I mean, we're still like in contact and stuff. So it's not bad by any means.
And then you broke up, you're single for a while. Did you stay in LA, or that's when you moved to Denver?
The day we broke up, I took my car and I was driving back to Chicago, made a pit stop in Denver to meet up with some of my college buddies, and I just loved it out there. So I ended up staying out there. I've been there for almost 2 years now.
Kind of like a gypsy in a sense.
Very nomadic,
You seem to be very easily, again, we haven't hung out much, but we have enough mutual friends where we'll be like, I hear you're like living in all these different places.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time keeping up. Is that
sometimes, man, when I wake up, I'm like, damn, where, what city am I in? But yeah, it's, I like it. I like to feel like I'm not really, held down to any city. I do travel a lot, so it's kind of nice to be able to go to a couple cities and stay there.
So you like that. What do you think causes that in you? Is that an unsettling feeling, or you just enjoy the,
I think I like
the excitement of picking up and going?
Almost like starting fresh. But I feel like I've hit every city now, so I can't even do that.
How has that affected your relationships? And I mean, like, are you trying to find someone, you're in a relationship, but like, is it important in a relationship to have someone as flexible with that? Or is that something that when you feel too settled or grounded, that you feel like you got to go somewhere?
Yeah, that's a thing, definitely. But I feel like I will, once that happens, like I'm ready to, call someplace home, and stay in that same place. When I was in my last relationship, I traveled maybe 1/8 of the amount I travel now. So I was in LA a lot. The relationship obviously comes first. And, if you can find someone that wants to travel with you and do all that stuff with you, then it's amazing.
That's great.
It is great.
What's your business? You own restaurants?
Yeah. So I have 3 in DC and then 1 in Chicago.
Wow.
Why DC?
So my business partner's from Maryland, and actually right when I was finishing up Bachelor Pad, we agreed that we would open up. Arlington, Virginia was our first restaurant, and then we have 2 in the airports out there. And then obviously my dream was always to have 1 in Chicago, and this other group kind of had a license deal and opened up 1 in Chicago for us.
What are their names?
It's all called Bracket Room, upscale sports bars.
Oh, they're all the same name.
All the same
like
name.
a bit of a franchise.
Yeah.
What about, are you going to open one in Denver?
No, I don't want to open up anymore.
So what are you doing in Denver?
That's a great question. So Denver's kind of my place to go and not be near anything that stresses me out. So it's really relaxing for me. I hang out. I have good friends there, and it's a central location for me between Chicago and LA. So I just kind of like to hang out there and clear my head. Yeah.
That sounds nice.
It is.
So whole
I want to
city.
come.
Yeah. I fly to my stress. So it's in Denver. Honestly, it's really nice because I don't.
You fly to your stress.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And is everywhere but your like home hub? Do you see that as stressful?
I mean, wherever I have work or or business, it's tough to like say that I'm stress free. So especially if I'm in New York or DC or LA, I feel like there's always something going on.
When are you the least stressed?
Oh man, probably when I'm dead asleep at like 2 a.m. when I can't even think about being stressed or not stressed.
So by yourself.
By myself.
Do you like being by yourself a lot?
I do like being by myself, but I also, when I'm by myself, I'm like, damn, I wish someone was with me.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's like, 2 sides of everything there.
All right. So then what made you even consider going back on the season? Like, what was that thought process like? I mean,
Yeah.
I was a little surprised when I heard you were going back on.
Me too.
Because I thought you were like done, and it was like a couple seasons had passed, and it was
Right.
just kind of like, eh.
So they called me for the Bachelorette reunion show that they did, that special. I think it was it 10 years?
Yeah.
Because they wanted me to be on there because I was the person with the most appearances on a show. Mm-hmm. So they flew me out to the mansion, and I did something in the back. Just filmed for the reunion. And they're like, we would like for you to come back on Paradise. And this was like 4 months, even prior to them selecting, the cast. And it was just always in the back of my mind. And I didn't tell anybody really. So I just kind of thought it through, and I decided to do it. And I didn't really tell even my family until about a week before I left.
That's interesting. Did you have any demands, like the fact that you were original cast? I thought that was a huge deal for you.
I mean, there was no way I wouldn't go back unless I was
The original cast.
Yeah.
Because you're dealing with a shorter deck, so to speak.
Right, 100%. And I was, that was my 3rd time doing Paradise, and it was my first time being on the original cast. The first time I did
What
Paradise.
do you mean original cast? First on the beach?
Yeah. Well, the first original people on the beach. As
Oh,
opposed
they
to like,
call that original cast?
Sure. I mean, I kind of made it up. I don't know if that's a technical term. But yeah, the original people, like every season, if the original people on the cast tend to be the ones who have the best experience, and they have the best chance of connecting with someone. Right. People come in within the first few, that's all can vary.
That's kind of nice. Yeah. The first season I came in with the first day. I was the first one to come on with the date card, which was kind of cool.
Yeah. So that's pretty much kind of the same too,
Yeah.
Not quite as, you missed that first day or two,
right.
But other than that, you're pretty good. But it's when the group kind of gets established and like a week later, and then you start bringing it in, coming in, you definitely feel like a bit of an outsider.
It is. It's hard to break into any kind of relationship or even friendship. Everyone feels like they've been doing this for so long.
How nervous were you going in? I mean, so you decided to go on your original cast.
Yep.
You don't really know anyone.
Zero.
And with it being, and so like last time you did this, you probably knew at least half, if not more, of the people going into Bachelor Pad. And even every time you went on to Paradise before, you kind of always knew someone. I mean, how scared were you?
I was actually pretty nervous, and it was kind of cool though. That was my whole thing. It was like, I'm not going to research anybody. I'm not going to message anybody.
No,
and I'm going to just do this as authentically as possible and get to really know people and not have any kind of preconceived opinions about them from their times on the show, because they can definitely have that about me. But I was so far removed. I mean, it's been 3 years, so even the people that were on the beach, they literally knew nothing about me except for maybe a couple, and I knew nothing about anyone. The only person that I've crossed paths with before was Derek out in New York.
Sure, yeah.
And that's it.
Was he original cast, Derek?
He was original cast, yeah.
Okay. So you come on, you're pretty nervous.
Yeah.
What was those first few moments? Were people treating you like an outsider?
Well, at first, some people thought I was a producer. So that was interesting. So yeah, you just walked on, and oddly enough, like Katie was one of the first people that came up to me and like hugged me like I was this like person that she's known forever. So that kind of broke the ice, and started to talk with people. It's really easy when people don't know you or you don't know them, because the conversation is so much easier because you get to learn so much more about people, instead of, having these messages back and forth prior to going on the show, and you already know everything about everybody.
And you're trying to pretend that you don't?
Exactly. Yeah. And it just makes it awkward. And, back in my day, back in like back in Bachelor Pad days, and like you would get shunned if someone found out you were like DMing or messaging before coming onto the show.
It's definitely changed.
Yeah, completely.
Interesting you say that though, but like in the dating world, minus the show, we have so much access to people,
right?
And people, when they go on dates, like what's the fine line between Googling someone, stalking the Instagram page, online dating? I think it's a giant waste of time to have a bunch of back and forth text conversations, because like how sincere can you be? You're trying to get to know someone over text, and then you decide whether you want to get a drink or not. And for that reason, it can be even more difficult having a drink or getting a cup of coffee, and then you kind of feel like, well, what do we talk about now? And then if you have Googled them or stalked their, do you pretend you don't know?
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you felt the same way, but when I go on dates with someone who outside of the LA scene or outside of Bachelor world, and just a civilian, teacher Erica, whatever, and many a teacher watches The Bachelor, and there was often the struggle I have is like this, you can tell they're pretending they don't know, right? And there's just an awkwardness of how much do I let them know I know him or know about them, or do we just pretend? Everyone handles it differently, but it's breaking through that can feel awkward. But even in like the regular dating world, that can also play a role too, where like you don't want to get caught up in like a white lie early on a first date, where it's just like you start asking leading questions because maybe you saw something, you Googled them, or you saw something on their Instagram or whatever, and you're like, why is this person asking such specific questions about me?
Right.
And they did you Google me? Oh, I didn't look at your Instagram page.
Right.
I feel like that happens a lot in the dating world. I don't know. Did you? Yeah. I mean,
I feel
someone who went in like wanting to have such an open book, were you that way in dating before you went on the show? Just not feeling like, I don't want to look, I just want to go on and fresh.
Well, he dated an old friend. That kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
someone who knew you from before.
And I'll tell you, like I did, the dating apps for a little bit and all that stuff, and it sucks. It's such a battle. I do think it, I love that awkward moment of when you're meeting someone for the first time for real, and it's like, all right, how do we break the ice here?
Ass out, one pat hug.
Yeah.
Hey, nice to meet you.
We're like, what's like do pickup lines even exist anymore? And everyone's like, all right, so what's the first line you use on, Bumble or whatever?
What is the first line you'd use on Bumble?
I don't know. I wait for them to say the first line, when that was happening. But, it's like if you meet someone out, if you're at the airport or, anywhere, it's like, do you already feel like that person already knows you? Or if you do go and talk to them, they're like going to the bathroom to like check your Instagram and like see what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we deal with that a lot. Everyone does. I guess it's, it's a little heightened, obviously, in our shoes, having gone on the show. But like nowadays, I think that's kind of a problem with dating out there, is everyone is very Googleable to a certain extent. Everyone has their life on their Instagram to a certain extent. And if you're not private, like it gives that person an opportunity to, and again, I get it. Like, especially as women out there, you want to like, is this a guy I want to go out with, you know, that there's a safety thing, you know, maybe.
Definitely.
And then with guys, it's like, what am I get that you want to do that, but like, where do we draw the line between just going and meeting up for a drink and getting to know someone?
That's why I feel like there's any authenticity is almost gone unless it's accidentally happens. Like, unless you got a delay at the airport and then you just strike up a conversation. I just think there's too much thought now before you actually go on a date with somebody.
I mean, it's a good point. Everyone's always complaining about how I want to meet someone
Everyone says the grocery store.
Yeah, the grocery store or a coffee shop or whatever. And you're right. I mean, it's harder and harder to have those authentic moments that we always
dream
think about in the movies or whatever.
Right.
But it's our fault. We
100%.
we want to know more, where we become more impatient.
There's no avoiding it. I mean, there's always something in you. Like, if you're like, all right, no Instagram for 3 months, I'm not Googling anybody. It's still in you. Like, you still are going to find a way to find out more about that person that you aren't actually learning on your own.
So you go back on Paradise, and more than anyone else, you have this chance to have these authentic conversations.
So you didn't watch Hannah's season then, obviously.
No, I watched maybe the first episode for a few minutes.
Well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you went down to Mexico, week 2 of it airing?
Oh.
So like even if he wanted to, he was
that makes sense.
Filming.
Oh, no, yeah, you're right. Yep.
Most of the cast don't get to watch. It's always interesting for especially the guys, right? No, is it? Yes, the guys.
Yeah, the guys.
The guys who filmed with Hannah, or in every season, because there's always 5 or 6 guys from the most recent Bachelorette.
Yep.
And they
everyone's
literally
like,
get
who
sent
are they?
home.
Yeah.
They go right to Paradise.
Oh.
And they have no idea how it's going to be aired or what they're going on. They might be able to guess about their experience, but they don't really know.
Yeah.
That's always kind of fun.
Yeah. You know, it always brings me back because when I went on Bachelor Pad, it was like a week into it was like Father's Day or some holiday, and they're like, oh, you can, they let us call her. They let me call my dad.
Oh no, that sounds
and
so sad.
The Bachelorette was still airing, and my dad's like, oh man, like, I don't know. It looked really interesting that last episode, and then I'm just all in my head. I'm like, oh damn.
What do you mean interesting?
Like, he's like, I don't know.
I know.
Yeah, like, like it was maybe an episode I was like crying or something, and then I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, all right, this is why they don't let us watch this stuff before we go on and film. But yeah, it's interesting for sure.
So you get to the beach, and at what point, I mean, I don't know about you, but like, given your previous experiences, I'd be constantly kind of an angst of like, all right, I did this. Should I have done this? Am I glad I did this? And at what point, if at all, did you feel like settled into this season where you feel like, all right, I'm here, and I feel like this has generally been a positive thing? Or how long were you nervous for?
I wasn't too nervous early on. Like, I pretty much hit it off with some of the guys, the older guys, like Clay and Derek and Blake, and I felt fine, because the reason why it was so I wasn't so nervous about it, because there was so much drama that was already like built up prior to filming. I had no idea.
You were just like, this is easy street.
I'm like, I'll watch, I'll watch, and like, I have no say in anything. Like, I found myself on the beach one time just sitting in the chair, and I was just like looking in the sky, and there was like an hour. I'm like, wow, I must be doing this right, because there's not a camera around me, and there's all this commotion going on. I'm like, all right, I think I finally figured this out,
We've been tough on Blake on this show. I met Blake. I like him as a person.
Yeah.
I've been critical of how he handled things leading up, and more specifically afterwards.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that whole experience, and what was it like both in the moment, seeing it, because maybe things are, shown in a different tone.
Sure.
And then what were your thoughts on it as it played out while it was airing in the social media battle, and then the finale? Like, as someone who was an outsider, came in, watched the whole thing from beginning to end. Yeah. What were your kind of thoughts as a friend of Blake's?
Yeah, I mean, being there was tough to see him. I mean, he was struggling every day, like stressed out, and I was a listener. Like, I listened to him, because I was kind of, on a very small scale in his position before, when I was on Bachelor Pad, when nobody liked you, and you were kind of stuck in this, in this. Yeah. For him, it was like the after the show part was tough, because I know you just want it to be over with, You know it's about to happen. You know the airing. I feel like that's actually the tougher part than actually being part of it, is witnessing it all over again, you know, a month after it happens. So, you know, I don't take any sides. I listen to both sides. I don't think anyone was right. I don't think anybody was wrong. I know that's a very safe way to say
Yeah,
things
I mean,
here.
come on. I'm not asking you to take sides. I'm just asking your critical opinion of, especially for someone, as you can say, like Blake, in a lot of ways, was similar in a sense, very popular.
Yep.
You were very popular.
Yep.
And then it happened differently, but then then you become criticized. And I think what I was critical of Blake because I thought almost all of his motives and the things he said and did were all about looking good.
Right.
And I think from what I heard when he was down there and just watching it back, it seemed like what he was so stressed about is being so aware of his edit.
Yep.
Even when he was talking on the show, he kind of mentioned this isn't going to look good.
Yeah.
Every time Blake would talk, he would like say 2 words, look up to the left, say 2 more words,
Think about
look
it.
up to the left again. And it was always about saying, what do I think is going to sound good? And then that action kind of continued. As someone who kind of admits, looking back, stepping away, that you were always trying to get back to where you started.
Right.
That's kind of what I see in Blake, and I've become kind of critical of that, of like, just be yourself, be genuine, do what you just think is in your heart, because you're not doing that now. Do you see that similarity? And again, no one's saying Blake's a bad guy, but I just think he got caught up in his own portrayal and his desire to maintain that love for himself.
100%. The most difficult thing that happened for Blake is from the very first day on that beach, it was starting to go downhill for him. So he had to deal with that, and he knew that it wasn't good. And so constantly he was trying to, as you said, look better. And you know, looking back, it's like, you know, maybe forcing some things with different people that it wasn't, he didn't really even mean it.
Yeah.
You know, and trying to kind of get that good ending. And when you start trying too hard, doesn't work out well.
Yeah. And then that's what I got the sense from you. It's just like, you almost kind of needed that break, right? You're gone for a couple of years. You dated someone else. You didn't really know any of these new cast members, right? You go in there and it's just like, oh, I'm just going to try to meet people, which is like what really the show is intended for. It's become harder and harder because of social media and the quick turnaround. And I don't really criticize the show or the cast members, but like, it's just impossible not to. I mean, if people ask me advice, like, what should I do for pairs? I'm like, don't DM people, don't reach out to your peers, but you're going to meet people at a party. You're going to go out. You're going to get invited to so-and-so and meet 4 people. Or you're going to like not talk to them.
It's hard to avoid it.
It's hard to avoid it.
Yeah.
But it seemed like you really benefited from that mindset.
It was the best thing, honestly. I think if I did know, you know, half these people going on to it, I don't think it would have been a great experience for me. And that's probably just different because I'm from, you know, a different time and I'm older. And I think honestly, it was the best thing. And, you know, even production was like, don't, you know, that was a whole thing for me going back on is like, I am not researching anybody here. You know, I'm not. And I knew, you know, they came and they're like, what do you think about this girl? Or what do you think about that girl? I'm like, I have no idea who this girl is. And I'm like, I'm just going to go. And I remember the only person the only girl that they mentioned, you know, he's like, well, you know, the girl, she had the fake Australian accent. And I just remember seeing a commercial. Yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember her. And that was the only person that I remembered when they were mentioning, you know, different people before I was actually going to film.
Did you have a different mentality? I mean, again, I watched clips of you before. On this season, you seemed kind of different. Now, granted, that could just be you did different things and it was aired differently. But do you feel like you've grown up a lot in that sense where you approached it very differently and had a different mindset? Because that's how it came across.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm 33 now and I was, you know, 25 then. So in 8 years, you grow up a lot and you learn from your mistakes and
You're
you learn.
33?
33.
Why are they acting like you're so old?
I know.
That's insane.
Well, I think it's just because the time frame.
Right.
It's
a whole
33?
decade.
Oh my God.
So honestly,
You have a mature face.
I know.
You don't have a baby face. You look great.
Thanks.
Not, you know, but you didn't look 25, I guess is the thing.
Right.
When you were
I've always looked older. But But yeah, I mean, even, on Emily's season, they're like, oh, you're only 25. I'm like, yeah. But yeah, I have grown, and I think you just learn to what kind of be a part of and what kind of advice to give and where to kind of stick your nose in and just kind of, I honestly, it's just got to think more selfishly about yourself. And I feel like a lot of the drama that goes on, it's no matter what you say, it's not beneficial to yourself or to anybody else. So for me, it was just kind of giving advice based on my experiences that I've had on the show. And I've had them all.
Did you give a lot of advice?
I really did. And, to Blake, to, JPJ, to a lot of the guys and even some of the girls. And it was just like, listen, like, you're not going to want to do that way. And I'm just telling you because I've done it that way before.
You did? Was it with JPJ? Where you said, it's like, I feel like you have I liked how you said it. I don't remember, but you're kind of like, hey man, I feel like you're trying. I feel like you're doing what you think is right now, but you probably are going to regret it. Yeah. I liked how you said that. I didn't feel like JPJ in the moment really cared about what you had to say.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, for like 3 days, JPJ was in a whole different world, but I think he understood it when I was saying it, and definitely understood it, when he saw it. So
did he? I mean, I haven't really talked to him, but I can't really tell if he's contrite about it. Because he does it, at least in the finale, he didn't seem. Yeah. He certainly didn't apologize to Derek.
Right.
I'm sorry you felt that way is not an apology.
Right. No, I agree. But I think he understood what I was saying, that it might not look the best when it airs.
Yeah.
And you know what? If it's his business to apologize or not apologize. Like, I don't know where he was getting his information and all that stuff, but that's that. But yeah, I like to give my advice where I thought people will listen and kind of, I guess, benefit from it.
Yeah, I mean, I really think it came through, and it was nice to see. I liked also that they decided to cast you for no other reason, that like you and Derek are older.
Yep.
I mean, it was a very young season. Extremely. And like I felt like you guys brought some levity to the, I don't know how you felt, Rochelle, but like when when imagine, I guess, going back to Chris's edit before, but like when Chris is offering some like real talk or just like logical thinking compared to some of the drama, it was refreshing almost.
Totally,
it kind of needed that, like that sense of like maturity in the show that you weren't getting a lot of. I mean, I liked the drama, but I'd like to see it get a little bit more grounded.
I agree. I agree. There's a lot of noise and a lot of, these people are young. They were young, and
I mean, you played in the whole grandpa thing.
Yeah.
Did you feel that when you were down there?
I really did.
Very self-conscious about how young, especially the guys. The guys were particularly young relative. There wasn't a lot of, there was you and Derek and everyone else was like 25.
Yeah, everyone was young, and you could tell. I mean, not that they lacked the maturity. You could just tell that they were kind of very excited. Very excited, which they should be. And especially the new guys that are just, coming off of Hannah's season. And you can just tell like who has done this before and who is just doing it for the first time. It's two completely different mindsets, but it's actually kind of nice to watch because it is kind of cool to see how excited. And you got to think about that too. When you see people doing things that you think they probably shouldn't be doing, like, well, this is their first time doing it. So I guess, learn the hard way, of this isn't the right way, but you can't take away from their experience because it's the first time they're doing it.
Did you imagine you would leave the show engaged?
No, I didn't. Obviously I went in, hoping that I would meet somebody, and I did, and I'm glad I did. And towards the end there, it's like there's a lot going on. Your emotions, you're locked in. You're so locked in, and I don't think you ever can really walk in there and be like, oh, I'm leaving the show engaged. But no, I was lucky enough to really get to, have a good relationship with Katie on the show. And there's a lot that, people didn't see too. So it's a battle, it's definitely a battle to get there. And there's so many obstacles, that you don't see when you're there. And it's, it was a hell of a ride, man.
Now, I've gotten to know Katie a little bit.
Yeah.
I quite like her. Yeah. Demi is a very close friend of mine. I know those two are very close friends. I got to say, though, when watching the finale, I was very team Chris. And I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that? And, I'm sure there was a lot, not getting in production. But, like, to me, it was just like, why is Katie bringing this up now? what were your thoughts and like how are things going now? And would you agree that you were also team Chris in that moment? I don't agree with, like, I know Demi was critical. Katie had her things to say, but like I love Demi, but like in the moment, I was like, what the fuck, man?
I was, in the moment I was like that too. But I should have known, listen, everything, it wasn't perfect, after done, it's a struggle, like meeting everybody's family and staying, it's
very challenging.
It's very challenging. And, we've had the conversations of, we got to do this, that, and be better. And, at the finale, I had this feeling like, that it wasn't going to be as smooth as I thought it was going to be. I thought we were going to go up there and, talk about the things we need to work on, but also talk about, the good things and kind of where we see our future. And so, I was a little surprised, but
did you and Katie have a conversation leading up to the finale of like, well, I guess what do we want to talk about? Like, what should we discuss?
Yeah. And you know what? You have those conversations, but it completely changes.
Sure. Yeah.
When you're there.
But I was just curious if you had the conversation.
We did. We had conversations like that. And that's why I was a little bit surprised. But honestly, like looking back, like I'm thankful that it happened that way, because it really kind of tested us to see like if we really want to, do this. And, it was tough right after that. But again, like it was a little bit of a wake up call for me as well. And, we both deserve the best of each other. And that I think we really started to kind of commit each other like 110% after that.
Well, that's good. Yeah. Was there a part where, because it was filmed and then it was aired a couple weeks later, did you have to process that frustration twice?
Yeah.
Right? Because when it happens, I'm assuming you were frustrated in the moment, and then it's aired and you're like, yeah, no, I'm really still fucking pissed.
Yeah. Obviously that night I was, we were disappointed. But we ended up, we stayed together, and it wasn't that as bad as it seems. And then, everything's good. And then it airs. And okay, so like the happiest moment ever, we get engaged on TV. And then an hour later, it is all hell breaks loose, at the finale. And so it was tough because you're such a high, such a low. And then the season, it just ended with us walking away from each other. So I would, are we together? Are we not together?
Yeah, there was a lot of like, Rochelle actually texted me. She's like, we got to get him on the podcast. I don't even know what's going on.
Right.
Like, because I actually didn't watch the last few minutes.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But you guys are together.
Yeah, we're together. And it's, we kind of like to stay out of the all the Instagram stuff a little bit and still like lead our independent, lives. But, we're still together.
What's your favorite thing about Katie?
Man, she tells it how it is. Like I can, get away with things, before her and stuff. But
when you say get away with,
when we have conversations, they're effective. And, I always feel like there's always a solution at the end of our conversations, whether it's, something we disagree on or we agree on, there's always, a solution. And I feel like she's someone that really thinks about the things that she's going to say. And I respect that instead of, being someone that just says things to say things. And she's so selfless. She cares so much, about me and her friends and her family. And that's, I've never met someone who's so selfless as her. And obviously she's gorgeous. I mean, her eyes are ridiculous and
it's good eyes.
Unbelievable.
I mean, I will say, I don't know Katie too well. I've hung out with her a handful of times, always in brief moments. And I did notice that about her. She seems to be a very giving person. And she seems to, yes, she takes value in being a good friend.
Definitely.
To anyone she's in a relationship with, friendship or otherwise. Yeah. And I definitely noticed it about that.
Yeah.
What would Katie say about you in terms of what's her favorite thing about you and the thing that she hopes that maybe you can improve upon?
Yeah, I think, as you can tell, the whole thing was like, I don't give a lot emotionally. I'm a hard person.
You literally move states to make you feel panicked.
Yeah, I move states. Yeah. But no, honestly, it's, I'm not a very emotionally giving person. So it's, I think.
What's your love language? Do you know?
I'm a acts of service guy.
Acts of service. You like to do nice things for the people you love.
Yeah. I like to do nice things. Yeah. But I'm not a much of like, I don't really like say too many compliments. I want to.
But why?
I don't. It's just the way I'm wired.
You don't say a lot of compliments.
I don't.
So you'll be like, do this whole like nice thing for someone and like kind of pat them on the head.
Not particularly, but no. But yeah, it's it's yeah, more of a giving person than physically than.
You mentioned like your dad commenting on you crying on TV. Was he always like kind of like man up?
No,
type? No.
You know what? I hate that term. I hate the term man up because I think as men we should be able to be as emotional as we want to be and can be. But no, I respect my dad for understanding that it is a very emotionally tolling thing that this show that we go on, and he's an emotional guy himself, and I respect that. So, but no, like listen. I ran out of tears on that show, man. Like I don't even think there's any left. But yeah, it's.
Did you become a more emotionally open guy as a result of going on this show?
100 million%.
Yeah,
100 million% from.
See, it does some positives.
The very beginning from The Bachelorette, but again, like it also helped. At some point, it kind of closed me off too. It's like, oh, maybe I'm being too emotionally available, and just like. Then I'm, laying my feelings out there, and then I get hurt.
Oh.
Yeah.
And now it's just like now I'm just confused, and in the middle sometimes. And so I want to give the emotional support that someone deserves 110% of the time, but I'm still a little like tentative sometimes.
We've learned a lot about attachment styles in this show recently. I'm curious of what
avoidant for sure.
You think Chris is avoidant?
Yeah. Well, maybe not.
What I
you run away when it starts to get.
I like to be by myself when things get a little hectic.
I wonder where that comes from.
Yeah.
Apparently attachment styles often are rooted in our lives and our relationships that we have prior to our present relationships, whether it's parents often. And it doesn't mean what we've learned is that doesn't mean our parents are good or bad, or just how we connected or things that happen. Are your parents still married?
Yeah.
Yeah.
40 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
But you said you weren't ever going to move to LA?
Well, yeah. I mean, when I moved out of LA, I'm like, I'm never moving back to LA. But you know what? If it means
Katie's from LA, or she's been
from,
living here.
She's been here for 5 years.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, she's been here for 5 years.
She's in a
she's been hustling out here for a while. So like, I respect it. It was a whole like, oh, let's move to LA because we were on TV. Like, I'm not about that. Yeah. If she needs me to be in LA, I'll be in LA. I'm here a lot anyway.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, we have a little game we want to play called Do You Know Me? We want to get to know you a little bit more than we have. And then we'll dive into some, we'll see where these questions take us. We're a big believer on this show that small, random, benign questions can lead to deeper conversations.
Oh, I bet.
And Rochelle and I are going to decide who knows Chris Bukowski.
All right.
A little bit more.
Let's do it.
Might be challenging because Chris is a bit of a closed off person.
Oh, yeah.
And who doesn't like to...
He's not closed off.
A little bit.
33. That floors me.
That's a good suit.
That is a good suit.
Yeah.
I mean, you were like that. I was my first season. I was that age.
Oh, wow.
And it's that crazy how it is. And you're going to see that again because it shifts, right? On Andy's season, I was still generally I was one of the older guys, but there were a handful of guys my age.
Yeah.
But like I would say the average age was 28-ish. Andy was 27 at the time, so that kind of made sense. I think there might have been one or two guys who were 25, 26.
Oh,
yeah. I remember Emily's season when she was the Bachelorette. Wasn't she like 24?
We were the same age. She was 25,
she was super young. So
yeah.
you had a bunch of younger guys, and you see that where it's just like, I mean, you're gonna see that. Guarantee a couple guys from this season, Dylan, JPJ, or whatever. Who knows these relationships or how they work out? But fast forward 3 or 4 more years, one or all these guys are going to come on, and there will be the old timers, and they'll just be turning 30.
It comes full circle, man. I was the baby to the old man, real quick.
Yeah, so it's going to change, and we'll see. Peter's 26, 27. I don't know how old his women are going to be, but like,
they'll be young.
They're going to be young. Yeah. I hope it starts getting older.
I agree.
The young creates a lot of fun drama, but I think you see it with a lot of people. It's like I mean, again, not to condescend or whatever. I don't know how these relationships are going to go. They're hard in general.
Yep.
That they start, but like, it's even harder when these people are jumping into relationships.
Right.
Of the pressure of you have the social media, and then as a viewer, you watch it back and just like, I don't know if it's harder to digest.
It is.
And I would like to see it skew like
I
late
agree.
20s a little
Yeah.
bit and mix it up a little bit. But
I mean, how old
I
were
think
you-
it's been fun to have I like that they mix it up.
Yeah.
I just hope they don't live in that.
Yeah.
How old were you when you were the Bachelor?
35.
I mean, I think that's like great age.
Great
to
age,
be the
yeah.
I think
Bachelor.
that's like, that should be generally the norm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mid to-
I agree.
But it still didn't work out.
Ben, I don't think one has nothing to do with the other.
Just kidding.
Ben was uniquely mature when he was young.
Sean
he's an
Lowe
old
was-
soul.
Sean was a good one.
And then it can vary.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Oh, I'm ready.
Don't quite answer yet. We're gonna ask the question. You're gonna let it marinate. You can have a poker face, and we'll just debate. Does Chris sleep naked? No, Chris does not sleep naked. I'm sure Chris has slept naked.
I think he does.
You think on a regular basis, more often than not, his balls are just kind of flopping on the sheets.
Yeah, I think they are.
What do you think, Nick?
I don't think. No.
He's a wild man. I think he's a little bit
I
of a
think
wild man.
most of the time you do not sleep naked. I'm guessing you sleep in some sort of undergarment. I don't think you sleep with
You
much.
think undergarment? Oh, just underwear.
Underwear, some boxers, maybe sweatpants.
Like an extra long T-shirt.
Yeah, just a tee. The balls just like dripping from the end of the t-shirt. I'm going to say yes. Generally,
No.
probably underwear.
No. Yes, he sleeps naked. Isn't that the question?
I'm going to say no. You say yes.
Okay.
I do not sleep naked.
Oh, disappointing.
You were projecting your desires and not thinking logical right there, Rochelle. Has Chris called their mom this week?
Oh, I thought you were going to do today.
It said today, but
because
it's
he got in
early.
an accident. So he might have called his mom in the accident.
Well, what do you want? What do you want it to be? Do you want it to be today or this
Today.
week?
I want to know if he called his mom when he got in the fender bender.
Definitely didn't.
I think he did.
I'm going to say no.
Yes.
So I didn't talk to mom today, but I definitely talk to her just about every day.
Every
do.
day?
Every day.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Now, you will call your mom later today to be like, I got in an accident and then I went this shitty podcast.
Exactly. Well, I wouldn't tell my mom I got in an accident because she would freak out. So
So are you pretty close with your parents?
Oh.
extremely close.
You're very
That's
close.
so cute.
You have parents who are together, loving family,
Wow.
and yet you are need to like leave the city
yeah.
from time to time.
I just
when you
go
get stressed out.
sometimes. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cute. Is she proud of you? Is she proud
Is
of
she
you?
proud of you?
She's proud.
Yeah.
When people ask that question, it always seems like, why are they? Wouldn't
Why
not
shouldn't
be?
they be?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it's just an
Well, I mean, people who take non-traditional paths, that's always interesting to
I'm
me.
the only one that's taken a non-traditional path. Like my sister is married to like her high school sweetheart, and
Wow.
both of my sisters are married to like people, guys they've known their whole lives
Oh
pretty
my
much.
gosh.
And then here's me, just
Yeah.
non. It's always like that question too. It's just like, are you okay?
I know it sounds that way, but I asked because
I mean, I wasn't until you asked.
right. Like when someone's having a panic attack, like, are you okay?
Like my parents are still like, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I that's why I'm curious.
2-0. No, wait. I'm sorry. I said no. You said, what'd you say?
Well,
Yeah, he called this morning.
Oh,
yeah,
2-0, Nick. But technically, I feel like if you would have won
I
had you said a
would've.
week, I would have still said no. I didn't realize. I wouldn't have guessed that Chris talks to his mom
See?
that often.
all the time.
That's so cute.
Is Chris in the picture on their phones?
No, is blank. So is Katie in the
Is
picture?
Katie in the picture on their phone's lock screen? Is Katie part of Chris's screensaver on his phone?
What?
I got to double check.
Don't change it quick.
No.
You're gonna say no.
Chris needs the space.
I'm gonna say yes because he's gone a lot, so he needs that little reminder.
Definitely not.
Of
Katie is
his
definitely
girlfriend.
not on his screen.
So it's a picture of my niece and my dog.
Oh, niece and dog.
Yeah.
That's good.
I think that's a little aggressive.
The niece and the dog.
No, that's very sweet.
It's too cute.
It's great. No, but like, yeah, like
Putting your fiance in the locker
even
screen?
your wife,
Yeah.
it's like it's on my, it's right there. Are we so? I feel like
It's usually the girl being like, "Put
that's
me
what
on
I'm
your
saying.
phone."
I feel like if it's happening, a guy's doing it to appease their significant
Right.
other, and I feel like already you're having some
If
problems.
it's like a family picture with like the kids and stuff, I think
right.
that's cool.
Yeah.
If you're married with the kids and you get the whole Christmas photo, great.
Yeah.
But it's just like
Yeah.
before that,
it's
a little much.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me.
I agree.
Can Chris name 5 states that begin with the letter M?
What do you think?
I think he better be. I'm going to say yes.
I'm gonna say yes too because he travels so much.
Yeah.
M's a tough state to travel to, though. You know?
Oh yeah,
There's
that's
a lot
a good
of-
Chris, go for it.
5 states.
So we got Maine, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Missouri.
Those are 4 off the bat I would read. And then what do we have?
Wait, did I say Minnesota?
Yeah, you did.
I said Minnesota.
I can think of another one.
You can't?
I can.
Maine, Michigan.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
Nice.
Michigan.
There's your 5.
Nice.
Wait, is there only 5?
Are there 6?
I don't know.
It's a good
It
question.
said, can you name 5?
Because I'll actually be impressed with myself there if there's only 5.
It didn't say the 5 states.
There's
I'm
got-
gonna look it up.
Is there a 6th?
I don't know. If there's a 6th, I don't know it.
I'm sure we could figure it out if there is. Has Chris been to church in the past year? Has Chris been to church in the past year?
I feel like his parents go to church.
If
and
he's gone, he's gone. Like it's been when he's home.
When he's
for, like,
home.
Easter or Christmas Sunday.
I don't think his friends in Denver going to church.
I'm gonna augment this question.
Augment it.
Has Chris been to church in the past year, not on Christmas or Easter Sunday?
Yes, with his I think his family goes every
Is it
week.
like a baptism? He's Polish, very Catholic.
Catholic.
Polish people tend to be Catholic.
I don't think he's Catholic. Wow. What's your answer,
Oh my
Nick?
God, Chris, I'm gonna say he has at some point in the past year.
Well, that's what I was going to say, but that's fine.
This is not about disagreeing. It's about,
I'm going to say he has it, but he's not Catholic.
okay, I don't.
I mean, Nick, you pretty much nailed it.
Oh, damn it.
So, not only that, I'm going to a baptism in a week for my niece because
Did I
I'm
say
the
baptism?
godfather.
Wow.
I am Catholic and I am Polish.
Wow, Nick, you're a little detective. Wait, I have the answer to the M question. There are 8 states.
Oh,
There are 8. There's 3 more to go. What are? Oh, hold on.
Here they are. Maryland.
Wait. No, wait.
Maryland. I lived there.
Maryland.
Literally, my license from Maryland.
Oh, no.
My license is from Maryland. You didn't name that one.
Yeah. Well, it's bad.
So that's 6. There's 2 more.
Montana.
Montana. 7.
Mississippi.
Mississippi.
Mississippi. I was thinking about that until I got put on the spot to like name 5.
It's
Those
hard,
were all
right?
in my mind.
Can you name the capitals of any of those states?
Yeah, I mean, Annapolis is the capital of Maryland.
It's the hardest
What about
one.
Montana?
Is it? No.
Helena.
Oh, yeah.
Why do you know that?
I know all the 50 states.
He's been waiting a long time
5th grade test
for this.
in the 5th
Capitals,
grade. Yeah.
Is Jackson's Mississippi, right?
Jackson, Mississippi.
And then what's Minnesota? Is it
It is St. Paul.
St. Paul?
Missouri is.
No. Is it? I don't think it's
Kansas
Kansas City.
City?
Is it?
I think it's Kansas City.
I don't
Oh,
think.
this is riveting podcast.
I don't think I was going to have to think this much.
I bet there's actually shockingly, Rochelle. I think a lot of people listening are like, I fucking know that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're probably yelling at the screen. They're yelling at the screen.
Does Chris own a pair of cowboy boots? No.
Yes, I think he's gone to Stagecoach. He got some cowboy boots so he could go.
I don't think Chris even likes Stagecoach.
I think he secretly loves country music. Go.
All right. I do own a pair of boots.
Yes.
I went to school in Vegas, so there was like the rodeo and a lot of country stuff going around there. So I bought a pair of boots.
Hell yeah.
But I haven't gone to Stagecoach. I do like country, but not like, But yeah,
All right.
been to a rodeo.
Rochelle is on the board. Does Chris know the brand of underwear they are wearing?
Oh yeah, he's fresh. Chris Bukowski's fresh.
What if I'm not wearing them?
Oh.
I'm not.
See?
Wait, really?
Yeah, I've recently decided
No,
to not.
Nick.
Recently. I
Why?
feel it breathes.
You're lying.
Well, I mean, there's no way to show you without it getting really weird and inappropriate. I am not wearing underwear right now.
Okay, that sounds chafy. You don't chafe?
No, quite the opposite. In these hot summer LA months, I find that I just get a little bit more breathing room than otherwise.
Wow. Okay.
So what was?
Do you know the brand of
name of the
underwear?
underwear
And he
you're
said
wearing?
maybe he's not wearing
I
underwear.
do know the brand of underwear I'm wearing.
Yes.
Care to share?
Saks.
Saks.
Saks Fifth Avenue?
No, Saks like it's a Canadian underwear brand.
Oh, like ball sacks.
Yeah. No, SAXX. But ball sacks, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence.
Never even thought of that, actually. That's very
That's
good.
gotta be why, right?
Yeah.
Has Chris ever changed a flat tire? Of course. He's from the Midwest. He's Polish.
Midwest, but he went to school in Vegas. I don't think they're changing tires in
Chris has
Vegas.
definitely changed a tire.
I think no.
I have.
Yes.
I don't think my old man will let me not leave the house if I didn't know how to change a flat tire.
Yeah,
that's
it's just
cute.
like, I mean, I bet if you asked that question about me, you would assume
That you
I'd
didn't.
never have. I'm far more handier than most people would think.
I that's the same for me too.
And I think, again, like Midwest, like I'm not like, there's just certain things you learn.
Yeah.
Like I know how to change my oil. I don't now.
Right.
Like
I would never change my oil.
but I could do it.
Yeah.
I can like hang shelves and like I can do the basics when it comes to carpentry. And I'm not great at it, and I wouldn't count on myself to do like a bang up job, but I can hang a TV. I can mount a TV. I can hang shelves. I can use a level and a drill.
Same.
Everyone listening is just like so excited right now.
Now I'll get to the point where like I can do this and I'm like inspired to do it because people think I can't do it. But then I'll start it and I'll be like, why am I doing this? I'll be like, let's call like Club Tech. Yeah, like what's going on here? Like $150? Yeah, come mount the TV. Let's go.
Right? I mean, actually, I do quite enjoy mounting a TV.
Yeah, it's tricky though. I mean, making sure it's level it's a battle.
You just have to have a level.
Yeah, that's true.
This is the sexiest conversation we've ever had on this podcast.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
No, I'm being serious. I feel like everyone listening is going to be like, oh my God.
A level, you just have to use a level. Most people, I think the level for the people who aren't handy don't even know a level exists.
It's true.
They're like, well, I guess we'll just kind of, does it look straight?
Yeah.
You know?
Now, are you able to drop the wires behind the wall? Like fish them down?
That I'm not good at. I usually cheat it and I'll just get the guard in
the
front.
cover, yeah.
But
You
like,
know how to do that?
Well, see, that's where I made a mistake.
he thought he knew.
I did that and I just couldn't get the wires down and it was a disaster.
I'm not that handy and I probably could figure it out, but I'm not that interested in being that handy. But I do know how to mount a wall on TV. I do know how to find a stud behind the wall.
Yep. It's
A
important.
lot of sexual,
Yeah.
like, just...
Yep.
Seriously.
I'm a stud finder, and I can drill a hole in the wall, and I can make sure it's level and mounted, and it's very secure, and it won't leave you or fall off.
Yeah.
All right. Wow.
I have mounted all my walls.
Not all evenly, though.
No, all evenly. Chris, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a lot of fun. I feel like the world's finally gotten to know the true, well-rounded Chris Bukowski. What are your takeaways, your thoughts? What are your final thoughts? What do you want to leave the audience with? Words of wisdom from the great Chris Bukowski, who's learned a lot about TV, life, and love.
Man, I tell you, be true to yourself. Very basic stuff, but be honest, be true to yourself, and always remember where you come from and who you are, and don't try to be someone that someone else wants you to be.
Ooh.
And within that, what's the one thing that you could make people aware of? Because I think that's true. And it's so often, I know it's a cliche, but often we don't. And what's the thing that could stop us from, in that moment of that crossroad that we'll get to, I'm going to be who I am, or I'm going to be someone I'm not at the risk for the sake of trying to gain something. What's that one thing in that moment where you're at that crossroad that in the past you gave into that temptation versus now where you didn't? What's something that people can remind themselves of?
I don't think there's anything specific. I think it's just thinking a little more in depth and remembering there's a lot more substance to things than, taking an easy road somewhere else, and just thinking more long term instead of short term.
See, I like that. That was what I was getting at. The long term.
Yeah.
It's just like, I think as a society, we think more in the moment. We love the instant gratification. People can't see past the moment or tomorrow. And when people ask me, for me, and I don't know how you feel, but the thing that I value the most and the thing that I will equate to having longevity and success over the long term was thinking long term, to not be reactionary, to not get so mad in the moment, to not point fingers, and just, all right, this is not great now, but I'm going to make decisions based off of long term, and that's really served me well. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't, and I think we learn as we go.
It's hard. It's hard because you're always thinking in the moment. Listen, I'm one that I get frustrated, I get upset, I get disappointed, but I think if you're able to kind of pull back and just think more long term, you can reassess the situation and make it a lot better, even short term.
Yeah, and some of that comes from like experiences, right? Of learning. You had the luxury of, I did this in the past, it didn't go well, so I'm going to think long term now. But and then taking advice from people that hopefully have been there before, which is also hard to do.
It is. It's hard to take advice from anybody because you think of it as criticism.
Yeah,
you really do. It's hard to take advice from people.
Have you always been that way, or because some people usually can only learn from their own mistakes, and then some people, can learn from other people's. Has that been a shift in your life?
Definitely. I think I'm a lot. I do. Obviously, I've learned from my mistakes, but I do take people's advice into account more than I did previously. 100%.
Well, Chris, thanks again for coming. Best of luck to you and Katie. I wish you all the happiness and love in the world, and I hope it works out. I hope if there's one relationship to come from this season that doesn't end, I'm rooting for you guys.
Me too.
I mean, I'm rooting for everyone, but I hope it works out. I mean, you're not getting any younger. I'm just kidding.
That's true.
You're actually super fucking young.
Yeah, he's so young.
You always make me feel better about myself. So.
Thanks, man. Is that because you are younger? But I mean, if I were going to try to bring you down, I could say, we look the same.
I know. I agree. I agree.
I've really enjoyed it. Thanks for coming, Chris. Thanks for listening, guys. As always, don't forget to rate us 5 stars on iTunes. Be sure to send in your questions for our Ask Nick episodes on Monday. And if you are tuning in to catch a little bit of Chris, we do a lot of great things on other episodes, both on Mondays and on Wednesdays. Check us out. Have a great week. As always, we appreciate you listening, and take care. Bye-bye.